Nationally syndicated radio host and founder of The Blaze, Glenn Beck, joined CBS's Alex Wagner for an interview today.
Yeah, they discussed everything from President Trump's travel ban to Fox News' role in this White House to finding hope at a divisive time. Here's a preview.
So I just want to first get into sort of the emotional substance of the president's remarks last night. The feeling that, quote, the danger is clear, the law is clear, and the need for this kind of executive order is clear. Do you agree with that?
Yes and no, and I want to be really careful on this. I do believe that there is a threat from Islamists, not from Muslims, but Islamists, and there's a great difference between those two. And I don't think the media and the White House and the Congress and pundits have really explained the difference to the American people.
All right, Alex Wagner is with us right now, and it's always good to see you. I know
Great
you're very busy and all over the place on all the platforms.
'Tis the season.
Yeah, 'tis the season. Real quick. He has never been a person that has been hard to read. What did you make of his reaction to the president's travel ban?
It's nuanced, right? I mean, he made this division between Islamists, who he sees as sort of radicalized jihadist types, and Muslims, who are, I would assume, the majority of faithful practicing Muslims in the country. And Glenn's contention is that we haven't distinguished between the two. Mm-hmm. And I asked him pointedly, I said, do you think this president has distinguished between these two sort of wings, if you will? And he said, no, absolutely not. But when it comes to how to actually, what to do about those two wings, mm-hmm. how to, draw a policy that does not persecute Muslims, but also targets what he sees as a dangerous Islamist faction, I think there are a lot of questions there.
You've sort of seen him taking sort of a different stance on some issues, or sort of a rebranding, if you will. So what struck you about this interview where you were kind of surprised?
Well, I think to some degree Glenn Beck is undergoing a public mea culpa. I mean, I feel he is upfront about some of the rifts I think he's created in American society, and yet he's unwilling to completely forsake what he said about some of the very real, I think, existential dangers he thinks are facing America writ large. So that makes it sort of complicated, right? Because on one hand, he's asking for people to come together and unite and be empathetic and listen to each other and understand. Mm-hmm. At the same time, he's saying, but there are these very real dangers posed to us, and we should be afraid of them. Mm. And it seems difficult to sort of combine those two things, empathy and vigilance, if you will.
So what did he say about the president's pattern of citing Fox News?
I asked him repeatedly, I said, how does it make you feel as a former employee of Fox News to have this president get so much of his information and to some degree his marching orders in terms of policy from your old network? And Glenn said, very specifically, I think there's some people, not all of the network, mm-hmm. that have more of an agenda than others. But I don't want to give it all away because it is a juicy part of the interview.
Juicy part.
It's very interesting to get the perspective of someone who used to be at Fox and used to sort of traffic in the same, I think, currency that a lot of folks do over there. Mm-hmm. And he's decided to make a break from that mm-hmm. to a certain degree, right? Yeah. He's in a really interesting headspace.
To say the least.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he is a fascinating, look, Glenn Beck is a fascinating figure on the American stage. He has a lot of ideas about a lot of things. He is never predictable, and in that way, it was a totally fascinating, far-ranging conversation.
He's got a huge following as well.
Indeed, he does.
Alex Wagner, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Alex. And just to remind you, you can watch Alex's complete interview with Glenn Beck at 3 p.m. Eastern today on CBSN.